Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this month's Financial Security for All webinar. We'll be monitoring the chat, so feel free to respond there. And we are so pleased to have with us today Jeannette Bennett. Jeannette's going to be talking to us about car buying. Many of you know Jeannette from some of our community events. Jeannette is the Senior Economic Education Specialist for the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, and she's based in Memphis. She's a national award winner for teaching economics and was designated as a master economics teacher. She has experience in many levels of education, and she's been a teacher, a school administrator, an adjunct professor, curriculum consultant, and designer. She's written curriculum for various organizations before beginning her career at the Fed in 2004. In her role as Senior Economic Education Specialist, she continues to write, design, develop, and present economic and personal finance curriculum. She's authored and co-authored numerous things and was presented a national award in 2022 from the National Association of Economic Education for her service in education. So we're so pleased to have her with us today. So please join me in welcoming Jeannette Bennett to talk to us about the car deal. Think before you buy.
Well, thank you, Laura. And I just got unmuted and hope that everybody can hear me okay. And Laura, it sounds like what you said was good enough. I need to just stop now while I'm ahead because I might mess up and lose points throughout the webinar. So thank you very much. And it is indeed a privilege and an honor to be with you today. And as I was listening to the music before it started, I thought, I love that song, Money, but there's different people, that's had that song out. And I thought, if you didn't like it before today, it's going to be on your mind all afternoon. That it's one of those tunes that doesn't leave you. And as I was listening to that, I thought, I've got the wrong title for this webinar because it's about the money, money, money. And this is financial security we're talking about. So what I should name it is everything you ever wanted to know about financial security using the car deal, because that's actually what it is. The car deal's okay, but the whole purpose is how you can teach, how you're going to relate this information to others. To get started, the car deal package. Think before you buy. So this is about thinking skills. And when Laura was talking about my background, remember I've got a lot of experience in education. And so I found that, or I found that for kids especially, or for grown-ups too, to be interested in something, they need to have a vested interest. I mean, you could talk to me all day long about how to roof that house, and I'm not going to care because I don't know anything about roofing a house, don't care to. But the car deal package kind of explores the idea of how we can teach and get people connected and involved in learning because we all like cars. Before I say anything else, I need to say everything I say today may or may not be representative of the Federal Reserve System or the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. So that claimer is required. This is a picture of the side view of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis in case you have a reason to be in that area. The St. Louis Fed has a nice museum about money, like the song kept emphasizing. So you might like to visit that. So as we're looking today at the car deal package, I would like for each of you to choose a car. You're going by the car lot and you see all these cars. Well, here's the little mini something or other. And then here's the normal kind of car. And then up here you've got this fancy sports car. In the chat, put your choice, either the black, the yellow, or the red. And Laura, you can tell me what shows up.
I
Choices.
sure will. Oh, they're putting in by color. Yes. So we have lots of votes for the yellow and the red. I'm not seeing any. Oh, the black. And I don't know, is that black or dark green? Looks to me, is that a Mini Cooper? Yeah,
It's
Mini
supposed
Cooper.
to be an inexpensive car. And so
Okay.
if you know it's a Mini Cooper, you knew more than I did when I chose these pictures.
So that's supposed to be the little compact, inexpensive car.
Yeah.
Some people might be looking for the hybrids.
Well, that's not on here. We're into plain old cars. So
Looks like
what
it's all over the place. I'm seeing a lot of all of them. So it looks pretty well spread out.
you don't have a winner?
No, we maybe should have done a poll so we could see it a little easier. Looks
Okay.
like the yellow. Looks like maybe the yellow is the winner.
Which is like the moderate.
Like a sedan,
Yeah.
mid-price sedan.
Okay. So I have to tell you right now that what I'm going to show you today is a lesson that you can download for free from our website. And it's been up there for a while, but it's in the process of being revised. And one of the revisions is new car pictures because somebody pointed out that that was a Mini Cooper, which would be more expensive than we wanted it. So there's going to be new car pictures in the new lesson. Look for that. All right. So the economy, and in the new revised lesson, it's not going to use the word economy car because we've been told people don't talk about economy cars anymore. Anyway, few changes just to look for. So the yellow is a moderately priced car. Then you've got the luxury car. Now remember, the name of this, the lesson that I'm going to be showing you today says a package deal. So it's a package. You know, when we go by a car lot and we see all these nice fancy cars, we look at the, oh, wow, isn't this nice? Oh, I like that. But we forget about it's a package deal. And there's a lot to think about before you buy. Besides that leather smell, have any of you ever, thought your car was just fine? And then you go to a car lot for some reason and they say, here, take this baby for a ride. And then when you come back from that ride with that baby, with that nice smell and that clean, polished look, you look at your car and think, I am driving a trap. I have got to trade. So there's a lot to think about before you buy. And in the chat, Laura, see if you can put some personal finance concepts that can be taught when thinking about a car deal package. Put them in the chat. Like, I want to put one. Length of contract.
Wants and needs. They're coming in. Wants and needs. Comparison shopping. Oh, look at all the costs, including insurance, loans. So that borrowing, interest rates, bang for your buck, compound interest. And I'm going to circle back around to maybe not in this lesson today, but there would be an option to include environmental concerns, environmental impact of the purchase, and I'm importance of a good credit rating. And then Jeannette, I'm also thinking about money personalities. I was thinking about that when people were picking their cars. Why we buy what we buy. Uh,
Personal preferences.
yeah,
Okay. So
trade-in value is another one.
if you look at personal finance concepts, like in any personal finance curriculum, you're going to have chapters or sessions, credit, debt, risk, protecting, there's all of these topics in personal finance that we talk about all the time. And one of, and I put together this puzzle to find a few of the concepts. But the truth is, after I put it together, I couldn't even find any of the words. Can you see any of the words? Personal finance concepts. If you find any, put it in the chat. I couldn't find any. I promise you, there's some there. Anybody got an answer, Laura? Look on the third line. There's an easy one.
Interest, loan,
Yeah,
income.
yes, interest. I can see that one. But you can tell that often things are hidden, even in this find a word in the word search, and you have to really think about them before you find them. Just like the car deal package. Often, if you don't think, you kind of miss it. Well, just to prove to you, I put some answers on here. Do you see debt down there at the bottom? I didn't see it on find a word. Loan spelled backwards. Collateral, collateral spelled backwards. So I promise you they were there, but they were very hard to spot because we just couldn't focus in on them. That's like the car deal. There's a lot of stuff that we just don't focus in on, and we just like that car because it's shiny and smells like leather, and it makes us feel good when we drive it down the street. you know. So here's some personal finance concepts that I just put together. This is not a comprehensive list. It's just some things that were, there. You got collateral, credit, interest, opportunity cost, gross income, interest rate, payments, principal, the car deal contract. Have you, hopefully not you, but have you known of somebody that has purchased a car, bought it, brought it home? They're so proud, they're smiling ear to ear. And you say, "What was your interest rate?" And they say, "I don't know." And then you say, "How many years did you finance it?" I don't know. I just know my monthly payment is $325. That's all I know. But on this contract, it was clearly on there. They just may not have paid attention. And if you look at the bottom here, the Truth in Lending Act, it is a law that when you sign those papers, that the rate and terms of credit are shown. And when you sign it, you're agreeing to it. Okay, so then I think collateral and lien would probably, and maybe loan too, would be kind of connected because when you purchase or buy a car, the car serves as collateral. If you don't make your payments, the the company you have it financed with, either the car dealership or a finance company, has a lien on your car. And if you don't pay for it, they can take it away. So even though you have a loan, you better be paying attention to what you sign on that loan because the car serves as collateral. Now, another thing that is important about a car deal is the amount of the loan. What is the principal? So if the car cost up front we're going to sell this car to you for 20,000. I mean, that is a good deal. 20,000. And if you borrow 20,000, that's your principal. That puts you in debt. So there's your debt. And it may be necessary. You may need a car. But then the interest rate, these are all connected, by the way. The interest rate on that loan may be and can be determined by your credit history and your credit score. You know, credit, building good credit pays off sometimes. Instead of getting the lowest interest rate on this car deal, they may hike it up there quite a bit because your history says you are risky. And if you're risky, we're going to charge you more for the risk. So then another thing on the topics I put together was another thing was opportunity cost. And you see, I put it on there twice. I'm going to tell you that I did it on purpose, but the real truth is it was by accident. But I decided to leave it there because opportunity cost is that important. When you make a deal, a car deal, and you're making this obligation to pay off a debt, you have a contract that you signed, and you got to make these payments. You are giving up something. The most important thing you give up, or like your second choice, like I either want to buy a new car or I want to go on vacation. The top two things. The thing you give up is your opportunity cost. The one next in line to your choice is called your opportunity cost. You know, sometimes people make choices, and see, choice could be another personal finance concept that I list here. People sometimes make choices not realizing what they're giving up. You know, you can see all these nice, big, new pickups driving down the interstate. They're all over the place. You know, those things can be like $100,000. Okay, so that somebody was saying yesterday they really needed a new pickup, but they were so expensive. Yeah, they're out of sight. But when you get that new vehicle, and you spend all that money, you don't have money for everything. You gave up something. You may not be able to go on a vacation because your money's all tied up. So it's important to think, what's it worth to me to give up whatever for this car deal? So you can see I've tried to tie all of these together, and they're just a representative list of concepts for personal finance. I don't think I talked about income, net income, and gross income. You know, when people say, "Oh, I got a good job; it's paying me," you know, they said they would hire me in at 50,000. That sounds really good, but just wait till you get your check and have all this stuff taken out of it, like your Medicare, your Social Security, your federal income tax, and a lot of other things that you can choose. So your net income may end up being about half of what that gross income says up front. It's important to remember because your take home pay or your net income is a big factor in buying a car. Because if you don't have the money, if you can't afford it, you can't do it. Okay, so let's move to where you're going to get this lesson. You can copy it off as a PDF, and use it right this very minute. You go to stlouisfed.org and choose for teachers and students. And then where it says find classroom lessons and resources, you click there and you're going to be able to type in the name of this whole curriculum is called Cards, Cars, and Currency Curriculum Unit. This is one section out of that curriculum. So one section talks about credit cards, another talks about debit cards, and then another, the car deal package. So you go to Cards, Cars, and Currency Curriculum Unit and look at the top. This is lesson 4, the car deal package. So that's how you get it in the first place. And then when you go there, it talks about the lesson itself and how the students will use an online calculator to collect information about specific problems that they have. It is a PDF, but it also is in a PowerPoint. So if you like to see things, the PowerPoint's already there for you. So here's page 1 of that lesson. There's a lesson description, concepts. And look at secured loan is on there, which we didn't talk about long ago. And then the objectives. This is just a copy of page 1. And here's a handout that the students are given a scenario and they have to look here. Car A is financed for 36 months. The monthly payment is $643. And then the estimated expenses are $250. So minimum monthly net income would be, I can barely read that. 40, what does it say? 4465? No. What does it say, Laura? 4465? Okay. So as they work through these problems, they kind of, the whole point is it's related to your income. What kind of job do you have to have that luxury car? And they work, and you don't ever, I always get upset with different personal finance companies, let's say, or businesses that they say never and always and all that. I think our greatest job is to teach the kids to think, not me tell them the answer, and not me say, never, never, never buy that luxury car, and never, never, never finance for 72 months. But I want them to be able to think about it and make the decision for themselves. So look at this. This is from that curriculum, just a page that says, emphasize that a car loan and making payments are a package deal. You purchase, then you pay. And the 3 things that we emphasize in these lessons are the income test. How much money do you need to have? What your income need to be to buy this particular car? The rule of thumb is no more than 20% of your take-home pay to be used for a car payment plus expenses, which includes insurance, gas, oil changes, whatever. What is it going to, a car license? What is it going to cost you to have that vehicle? No more than 20% of your net pay. That's just a rule of thumb. Now, some people might have a little cash that they could make a down payment on it instead of finance the whole thing. In the chat, what's the advantage of down payment? And while you're putting that, got any takers on that? What advantage?
Less to finance, pay off quicker, bring down the balance of the loan, lowers the amount you borrow.
Good, y'all got that. So if you can make a down payment, most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, you're saving money. As that song said, money, money, money is what it's all about here. And then the time option. You know, they used to have standard like 36 months, 48 months, and it went up to 60 months. Anybody hear of any financing terms more than that? Put it in the chat. Anybody hear of anything more than 60 months?
70, 72.
Wonder why. Why do you think that's increased? Ideas in the chat?
Oh, someone said I've heard 84 months.
They're all right.
Yeah.
Now tell me
People
why.
84.
Think about that. Your car's going to be in a junk pile before you ever get it paid for. And your payments don't go down because you signed that contract, remember? And the contract says you're going to pay whatever, $400 a month or whatever it is for 84 months. How long is 84 months? How many years is that?
7
You
years.
know, most vehicles after 7 years, I think I'd be getting tired paying for it. But why is it spread out that long?
So a couple of comments in the chat, Jeanette, is that the car dealers can sell people a more expensive car. And also they're making more money because of the interest if the dealer finances it.
Good idea. Anything else? Has anybody, let me give you another hint here. Has anybody checked or heard anything about how in our country today, people are maxing out their credit cards? And yeah, we're still buying, but we've put it on credit, and that it's really, has anybody got any information on that recently?
And Jeanette, someone just posted that people are focused on the payment per month, and that's the common issue for buyers is they're only looking at that payment per month.
Okay, Laura, hold on to that.
Okay.
And I want to talk about that, but let's get back to, have you looked at today's reliance on credit, and especially credit card debt currently? Anybody know anything recently on that? Current conditions? You're not getting any answers? I'm going to throw that out there as something to do some research on. What in the current economy has the credit card debt increased, decreased? What's happening there? Also, you might want to research delinquencies on car payments and the repo possession, because often that measure, there's a lot of activity with repo man when people are not making their car payments. So just to do some research on current times, I'll throw that out. Now, you said, Laura, that often that this 84 months extended is to get the payment low. Well, look at this number 6. These are some questions that I've just been asking you. And if we still go back to, this is a package deal you purchase and then you pay. There's a lot of factors involved here. Let's look. The length of the loan, 48, 36, 72, and 60. Well, up front, I might say, never, never, never go for 72 or 84, because it means you're going to pay more interest. I might say that. I didn't. But I also look at this. The loan is $20,000 on all these deals, and the annual percentage rate varies 5, 6, 8, and 9. So I might say, oh, always take the lowest interest rate. Maybe, maybe not. Better think about it. But when this monthly payment comes out, and then you pay for it according to these terms, the total price that you end up paying on this 5% interest at 48 months, 6% interest at 36 months, 8% at 72 months, 60 months, 9%. Which of these deals is the best deal for the amount you paid? It's deal 2, 6%, 36 months. Isn't that interesting? If you look at what it's going to cost you, everything's not quite as it seems. Sometimes it's hidden. So often, we're going to skip some of this. Often a car dealer has remember, this is a car dealer's job. Their income depends on how they can make a sale. Well, do you suppose if you go to the car dealer and you say, I want to buy a car, do you suppose that car dealer salesman says, are you sure? Have you thought about this? Can you afford it? Are you sure you can make them? Is that the reaction you're going to get? Can you think of one line? Andrea, I'm going to pick on you. Can you give me one line that car dealer salesman is likely to say? She may not be able to come off mute. Laura, you may have to do it for her.
Let's see, one thing that the car salesman is likely to say. He might show you some more of the features of the car.
Look how good this baby is. You know, they're always acting like it's special. What else might a salesman say?
Oh, I can get you in that car today.
Okay.
That sounds like the car salesman.
All right.
It will be gone tomorrow. We will make it work. That it will be gone tomorrow. I hate that that pressure. Like you got to do it right now.
Are you reading those from the chat?
Yeah. So they say you get a better rate if you finance with me. Oh, what do you want your payment to be? Y'all clearly do more shopping than I do. My last car had 325,000 miles on it when I sold it and got something new. Somebody else said this lower rate is going up next week. More of that time pressure.
So you've got number one, this person is never dull and bored. They're always like chipper, happy, motivational, like, what can we do for you today? What's it going to take to get you in this thing? This thing is a once in a lifetime deal. We've got it at the bottom line, and I'd love for you to take advantage of it. And then one of the comments might be, how much you want to make it your monthly payments? How much can you afford to pay? And you say, oh, I might be able to pay 300 and maybe. And he said, we'll work with you on that. He goes away, leaves you in the office, comes back and says, I think we got a deal for you. We've got it worked out so that your monthly payment is $310, which is less than what you said. So, hey, we can take this, sign right here, and it's all yours. And you sign and never bothered to see that it's for 84 months. Now, if you don't like PDFs, running off, and I'm telling you, this is a whole a lesson that talks about the income test, the length of the contract, and what difference does it make with the interest rates. And by the way, interest rates now, would you be more likely to buy a car now or this year or last year at this time? Anybody? I love this chat. Last year or this year?
Last year, someone
Because
said,
because you could probably get a much lower interest rate. So as interest rates go up, the total cost of your car also goes up. Now, as I was saying, if you don't like running off copies of papers and having them work with paper, go with online. We have an online version, which does the same thing. Different different problems. So they're not exact. That's, we just didn't want to be exactly the same, but it's online. You can assign this as an online course and it's graded for you. There's a pre-test, there's a post-test, and you get the grades reported back to you. You never have to grade the first thing. Look at this, evaluate the cost and the benefits of car purchase options. Now, one thing that on that 84 months, that's getting the payments down lower. But think about the down payment, which gets your payments down lower. You may not be able to afford a down payment. Some people can. I'm going to take $5,000 straight out of my pocket, put it on this car. But if it's the right deal, 0% interest, maybe that's not a smart thing. So it all depends. There's a lot to think about. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It is, you got to know some stuff to think about before you make a decision. So actually, this is about decision making. Everything you wanted to know about personal finance and making decisions wrapped around a car deal. Okay, this is a page at the beginning of the online car deal package. There's a pre-test that's scored for you. There is choosing a car. Can I afford it? Buying a car, it's more than just price. Looking at law, know your contract, and anyway, then there is a post-test. So you could assign this. As a matter of fact, I work with teachers a lot in personal finance, and I often assign them this online course to do so they'll know what's involved. Sometimes if you hadn't done it, you don't realize what it's like. But let's take a quiz here. You put your answer in the chat. Remember, before buying a car, you need to make sure you make enough income to afford the monthly payment and expenses.
I have 2 votes for option D, 20%. 3 votes, 4 votes, 5 votes. It looks like a clear winner.
Overwhelmingly D. So that shows y'all been paying attention. That is the correct answer. Now, let's see about this one. What three factors mainly, I should put the word generally, what three factors affect the total price of a car?
Jeanette, looks like they're going for option C here.
I think they're right. Those are the three main factors that influence the total cost of the car. Now, I have heard rumors. I have nothing to back this up. Just looking at some of these options here, I've had rumors that the color of the car makes a difference in the price. I don't know. And that I've also heard rumors, just people saying, that the insurance sometimes varies based on the color. You know, that hot red car that some of you chose up front, that might apply to that. I don't know. That was just something I've been told.
Oh,
Okay.
that said red gets pulled over more. So again, those main, just so we can call those out, were the main factors in cost were interest rate, length of contract, and size of down payment were the most important factors.
Usually and generally.
Typically, yes.
I need to do that.
Okay.
So here we go. The factors that affect the total price of a car: interest, length of contract, and the size of the down payment. Now, what is a contract that you sign? We're just going to quickly go through some review things here. And I want to tell you that in person, I was so excited about an activity that I worked out. Of course, it won't work on a webinar, but I put some facts on, I typed them up on strips of paper. You know, like I'd say, a contract is an exchange, promise, or agreement. You know, I put the definition down. And then I looked online for the shape of a car, just an outline. And I made it into a half-page size. And I took all the, are y'all following me? I can't do it with you today. But I took all these strips and cut them apart. So I had all about 20 strips. And then I had these car outlines and 20 of those. So I took the strip, laid it on the car, used Scotch tape, taped it on there so that every car had something on it. And then I put them in a big, you know, a box. And I have at one of those timers that goes off. You don't set it for a time. You just set it and it goes off when it wants to, like sporadically, and it will go like 5 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever. And we did this past the hot car, and we had a little matchbox car, and people were passing it from one to the other. And when the timer went off, the person who had the hot car had to draw one of these things, you know, the car shapes with facts, from the box and describe something about it. It was a good game, but it won't work on a webinar, so maybe y'all can figure out how to do it. Here's the cars with the price now. 17,000, 24,000, 55,000. In the revised version, we've got different prices that are higher now. Monthly payment on this cheaper car, $415. Moderate car, $586. Wow, this red super dupe luxury, $1,343 a month. And then you ask, the kids to, or people to say, what kind of job do you have to be able to afford these vehicles? Okay, in the little black 415 a month, if that's 20% of your income, you got to have a job that pays at least $2,000 a month. And if you've got this hot car, you have got to have income of at least $6,700 a month. And that doesn't even include your extra expenses. Okay, so this is just a review of what is collateral, what's a lien, interest, the price of using someone else's money. So just because you get a loan doesn't mean, that's okay. But remember, you're paying for that loan in interest. And the interest is calculated in this lesson that shows the students to think about all this stuff. And then the word caveat emptor, which means let the buyer beware. It is your job as a consumer to think about stuff. Don't get hooked into these. You're going to be responsible. Know what you're getting into. What's the Truth in Lending Act? I already told you that's on a contract. This is a sample contract taken from an actual purchase in Memphis, Tennessee. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, and the VIN number has been changed. And this is in the lesson, handout 4.4, as a matter of fact. And the students have to look at this, analyze this contract, read it, and decide, is there anything strange about this? Anything that would make you not want to sign it? Or what do you see that's interesting? Anything in the chat? What do you see about this contract? Anything?
Oh, here's one. Very high interest rate. 40
Good.
late fee, 17% interest.
Good. That's it. I'm glad you picked up on that, because that interest rate, remember, it's a law that they put it on there, and most people don't pay much attention to it. This very high interest rate, probably because this person had bad credit. Probably it had a repoed car in the past. Well, we're not going to give you this without getting, making money off of it. And then this person is, driving around saying, "Ooh, look at my car. Isn't this nice?" And they had never figured out how much they're. Look at the total sale price. How much did they finance? $26,000. And they ended up paying almost 42. It's a lot to think about. So when you are trying to develop and get a good credit record, remember, it's going to pay off, because at 17% that's where people it's like they've done bad in the past. We're going to expect them to do bad in the future on their payments. Anything else?
Tone price. Someone said.
Okay, but one more thing, because we just talked about that. One more thing.
High monthly payment. Someone else put in.
Okay, keep going. What's right there beside of the monthly payment?
Number of payments is blank.
Which means it's against the law to leave that blank. And if you were given this contract, you should know, I'm not signing that. it's against the law for you not to have it filled in. Okay, now if you were looking at the car deal package, remember it's that package deal. You buy it, yeah, because it looks good and makes you happy, but you are giving up a lot. There's a lot of obligations that go with it that you need to think about. Now, I get excited about these kind of things because what's some additional things, either in economics or in personal finance, that's connected to the car deal, other than what we talked about? And I came up with a lot. I told you a while ago, research. This is how kids learn to think by thinking. If you don't think, you don't learn to think and make wise decisions. So if you could get the kids interested in this car deal, and I keep saying kids, how about students? That would apply to anybody. If you can get them interested in, well, I didn't know that. First thing you're going to find, they have questions. That's a good sign of learning. So if you can get them to question, then you're doing what you need to do. One of the things that they might question is, where do we get these cars? We're talking about buying a car on this car lot here. So you're talking about trade? Where do these cars come from? Do we import them from another country? What about how are they made? The assembly line. There's so many things that you can research, and that's how learning takes place when questions come up. All right, so that choice that you made up front, the yellow, the red, the black, do you still want that car, or do you think there's a little bit more to think about? Thank y'all very much for listening, and we got a